on Twitter or wanted to grow your own account on Twitter, today we are going to be covering the most followed gaming topics on Twitter, the biggest esports stars on Twitter, the biggest events of 2020, and we're going to be giving you guys practical insights if you ever wanted to grow a gaming following on Twitter, what you can do, how you can schedule content from the master himself, Ross Dillon, the man behind, I'm showing your face right now, the man behind VGF Gamers, one of the most engaged gaming Twitter accounts of all time, no hyperbole, all in this episode of the Digital Drop Podcast. Watch all the way to the end. If you've ever wanted to build a gaming audience on Twitter, you've got to have all of these insights. It's by the numbers, practical advice. Let's freaking go. Let's pay the bills. This podcast is sponsored by Restream. Why live stream to one platform when you can simultaneously live stream to every platform to discover new audiences faster using Restream.io? And it's you, Ross.
Okay, so a 75% increase from the previous year. Now, there's actually a lot that played into this. Obviously, when you have new consoles coming out, that's going to garner a lot more attention across all social media platforms. Also, when you have, a pandemic going on, a lot of people are playing video games and a lot of people have a lot more time to talk about video games. So it was kind of the perfect storm for Twitter right now to become a really gaming centric platform, which is a little bit unexpected in the way it jumped. Let's take a look at the most followed gaming topics right now. And by the way, this is coming from social media today. They posted the article, I believe, towards the end of last week, maybe it was even this week. The most followed gaming topics: 1, gaming; 2, gaming news, which is actually kind of surprising to me; 3, esports, gaming influencers, PlayStation. And then you start getting into the top games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Minecraft, Animal Crossing, and then you have Xbox. So what does this actually show us? Is there actually going to be room for gaming creators, people who have YouTube channels, Twitch streamers? Is now the time to start taking this seriously on Twitter? Is there actually going to be room to grow, or is all that juice already soaked up by now? We're going to talk about that a lot today. Gentlemen, let's talk about this first of all. Is anything surprising to you on this, the most followed gaming topics on Twitter? Did you expect to see more games on there, or?
I'm surprised that esports is the number 3 item on this list, to be honest. I thought esports was a lot more niche than this indicates. I thought that esports would be maybe not even on the top 10. And so I'm blown away that esports is a top topic on Twitter, even bigger than the actual games themselves. So this shows us that next to gaming news, as you can see on the screen right now, next to gaming news, esports is even more important than the consoles themselves and the top games. So for folks that were saying, we don't know if esports is ever going to become big enough or become relevant enough, this proves that, at least in the daily conversations on Twitter, if you're trying to build a gaming account on Twitter, talking about trending news in esports, what's happening in events, there is an opportunity here to tap into that. And as we've seen on YouTube, YouTubers that have popped up recently that have created, I think the name of his channel is Esports Today. Oh boy, I just messed that up, I think. But folks that are covering esports in a news capacity, in kind of a day-by-day and moment-by-moment capacity, there's an opportunity to tap into that because a million different accounts cover gaming news. No offense to you, Ross, who has one of the biggest gaming news accounts out there. A million accounts cover gaming news, but not that many cover esports news right now. Could be a big opportunity to grow a gaming audience in a trending sector. What are your thoughts there, Perrin?
Yeah, I think I'm surprised by Fortnite being above Minecraft. We've looked at the numbers of these two, especially on YouTube, and we looked at how many views Minecraft was getting compared to something like Fortnite, and it's literally billions more views. But the discussion online, what's being talked about on Twitter, is very much a platform where we're talking about the conversation right now. What is going on with these today, right now, right? And Fortnite gets more discussion than Minecraft, which gets far more viewership. Interesting that I guess Minecraft has been around for longer, so there's maybe less to talk about, but it's still up here in the top 10, still beating out Xbox.
What the hell are people talking about with Minecraft? I just don't get it. What the hell are they talking about?
I don't know what there is to talk about, but there's still plenty of creators with Minecraft, and there were some trending events. I think there was a speed run that got some drama because a creator got accused of cheating during it because he got an amazing score or something like that. Don't quote me on it. I only a little bit of knowledge. But the point is, there are still trending topics around Minecraft, even though the viewership is greater by a large margin than Fortnite. The discussion on Fortnite is more current and more trending. The other thing is gaming influencers being number 4, and this is what I like to see. One of the strategies, if you ever study larger creators and see how they increase their view count as live streamers or how they increase their viewership as YouTubers, one of the ways to do this is by joining the conversation with the other very high tier successful gaming creators. And when they jump into those conversations, that makes them relevant in the space, and that makes people want to go watch them and care about what they say. So Twitter is one of the main tools in their toolkit that they use to stay relevant. And so gaming influencer conversations in 2020 is number 4. We also had like the huge events. We had the Dr. Disrespect, Ninja. We had like huge gaming influencer social events on Twitter that
massive
happened over
drama. Drama is driving a lot of that conversation. Absolutely.
And these also happen over like long periods of time. There's a long period of time where we're talking about Dr. Disrespect for a while, for a month or two there. So we have those larger conversations. We have more large gaming creators trying to stay relevant and using Twitter as a platform in their toolkit.
That makes sense. So let's talk. Go ahead, Ross.
No, I was going to say just playing into the drama thing. If you scroll down to the most tweeted about game events, I'm even going to throw the 2020 Game Awards into that drama that you just described, because there was so much drama surrounding it. There's so much drama surrounding everything on gaming, especially in 2020 when you have events like Cyberpunk, that horrific launch. But the Game Awards, you had some controversial games now in the mix for that. Drama is what seemingly fuels the discussion around a lot what's going on in gaming. We saw that with Dr. Disrespect. We see that with all of these events. We see that with the stupid console wars and things like that. So it's interesting to see that if you're going to create a strategy, if you're a creator and you're going to put together a strategy, I don't necessarily like playing into the drama itself, but clearly that's what's working. And I'm glad you brought that up, Aaron. Go ahead, AWOL. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I mean, so covering these events, covering esports, covering the different things, the game launches, the updates, the DLC, even the drama, covering it even in a news capacity or giving a quick take on it or helping people understand what's going on by putting together a tweet that kind of summarizes what's happening so they can understand at a glance in one tweet what the hell all of the conversation is about could be an interesting way to grow a gaming account on Twitter in 2021 and beyond. If you guys can save people a lot of time of doom scrolling through all the drama, of scrolling through, hundreds of tweets on a trending hashtag, and you can just hit them with, boom, here's what's going on, maybe here's an image or a video that summarizes everything, that's extra value you guys can provide as content creators to potentially break through and provide a lot of other additional value. I mean, you've covered gaming news in a major capacity for a while, Ross. What are your thoughts on the ways that people engage in news? Do you need to be editorial? Do you have to have a hot take? Or can you just lay it on them the way it is and just hit them with facts and hit them with time-saving value?
Very rarely when I post something that's related to gaming news do I actually kind of structure it with my opinion on the topic. In fact, generally, I will literally just post the article itself and then let the audience kind of figure out what they want to make of it. I don't like to bring any bias when going towards news. I got to call it what it is. People follow me for the memes. They follow me for the wolves. They're not there to get my opinion on, what's happening with Cyberpunk and things like that, unless they're watching the podcast. So essentially that's that pretty much wraps that up. If you're a personality, rather, I don't play my account as a personality, but if you're a personality like a gaming creator, and this is something that you talk about during your live streams, or even if you have a channel that's dedicated to gaming news, you may want to slip your opinion in there because your goal should be to give a perspective that your audience doesn't have or has not seen before. But, if you're just generally for a gaming update page, rather close to what I'm doing, I tend to side towards let the audience decide how they feel about it. You don't need to influence them on that.
That makes sense. I think that can work from like a branded account, like account like yours that's branded as VGF Game or Gaming Humor and News. But as an individual creator, I think it is important that you provide your take on events. And one of the best ways to provide your take quickly on an event, a lot of people type out text on their feed, which is fine. But I think a way that you guys can break out and you guys can do something more interesting as gaming creators to get your tweet seen more in the algorithm, and I'd like Perrin to talk about this and both of you guys to talk about this, is to film a quick video on your phone with your take, with an accompanying bit of text on there. This is something that a lot of creators aren't doing enough of. And whenever I reply to conversations on Twitter and I hit somebody with a video plus a little bit of text on it, I almost always get engagement on Twitter when I film that video and I have myself on camera, and they almost always watch the video itself because almost nobody actually does an entire video and they put in the effort. But the amount of time it would take you to bust out your phone and to actually record a video of you talking about what you think of that esports event, of what you think about that gaming news, of what you think about that DLC, of what you think about that announcement or that drama, takes maybe less time than actually writing a really thoughtful text tweet. And so I think this is a strategy that a lot of creators that are watching us right now and folks that are looking to build gaming audiences moving forward can do. I mean, Perrin, I know you're our in-house algorithm expert. Is video still on top in the Twitter algorithm in terms of getting suggested?
Yeah, so the Twitter algorithm really hasn't changed in like 3, 4, 5 years. And it's very simple. It goes by media type. And so whatever media type you're using normally gets better engagement in the algorithm. Live video being number 1, video being number 2, followed by image, followed by just plain text. So the better kind of media content type you use, the better traction you should be seeing in the algorithm. Live video being number 1. Although live video is distributed using a secondary platform called Periscope, and that might not be around too much longer. Ross, do you have any more info on that? Or
yeah, I believe March 31st, Periscope we're going to take it out back behind the barn and send it the way of Old Yeller.
Good old Periscope.
No, but we're live on Periscope right now. We're live on there right now. Please don't kill us. What's going to happen? No,
I don't know. That's the thing. Nobody really knows. They haven't now announced a backup plan. And what's actually a little bit scary about this, especially for me, is I think there's a real scenario that they just don't have live, or if they do, because they are switching to AWS for their servers. If they do, I think that they would tie something in live into something like the fleets that they're doing, which is, based on what I can see, has not been successful at all. So I think they may try to take that the way of Instagram and incorporate live video there, but I haven't seen anything announced other than Periscope is going to be done because they cannot support it anymore. So live video on Twitter may not even be a thing. We talk about this all the time. It seems hard to believe that a social media platform in 2021 is not going to incorporate live video somehow. It just seems dumb, but we've seen the decisions that Twitter has made in the past. So I'm not 100% convinced that live video is going to exist on the platform anymore. Or if it does, it may come back in the future under fleets, if that's even still around, because that doesn't seem much like a success. Let's talk about real quick the opportunity to grow on Twitter if you're a gaming creator. First of all, we always talk about the strategies as a gaming creator, trying to send people to your channel and stuff like that, and how you probably shouldn't even do that. But the opportunity to grow on Twitter, while the conversation about gaming has increased by 75% year over year from 2019 to 2020. A lot of factors went into that, like we talked about earlier. But that kind of might be a vanity number here. And we've talked about this before. We've seen this on Twitter specifically. When the platform itself is slow growing, that's generally going to be a sign that it's going to be difficult for you to grow as well. That doesn't mean it's impossible, not by any means, but it means it's difficult. That means when you're approaching, as a gaming creator, when you're approaching Twitter and trying to figure out what kind of strategy you need to use, you need to figure out something that is unique, something that is not being done, that has not been done before. A good example of this, and I didn't even think to bring it up, but you can, people watching can go and search it. It's like video game edits, where they just take video game and edit like professional clips. Like they make like video memes out of it that blow up. There's also an account on Twitter for gaming that is 100% focused on what animals in video games can you pet, which is a brilliant idea. Everybody loves animals. So you have to approach it from a unique angle, which I know doesn't provide a whole lot of hope for gaming creators trying to take people off your channel. So if you are a gaming creator, do you need to be taking Twitter seriously? Yes, because it's still a platform that has 340 million people on it. So how do you set up a successful strategy as a gaming creator to build an audience on Twitter? Well, the first step is never send links to YouTube over Twitter. Nothing is more frustrating than people when you just go through a content creator's timeline and it's just a link. Here's one to YouTube. Go check out my YouTube page. Next post, go check out my YouTube page. I posted a new video. Nobody cares. Nobody's on Twitter to go off of Twitter, and you need to realize that. People use Twitter and to get information quickly, even more so than what they do with Facebook, even more so than what they do with Instagram. This is where a lot of people get their news and stuff like that. You have to keep them on platform, and you have to be able to sell yourself while you're on that platform as well. So what does that mean? What strategies can you incorporate? Take actual clips, the clips that you should be making for your clips channel anyway on YouTube, and then repurpose them over on Twitter. Repurpose actual gaming clips that don't link to any YouTube videos. Focus on building your audience on Twitter alone. Give everything to your audience up front on Twitter so they don't have to leave the platform to know who you are. And then that way, down the line, when you have earned their trust, when they said, hey, this is a valuable follow. Hey, I really enjoy this person's content. They're going to be much more likely in the future to go and watch your live streaming or check you out more to see what this person's up to. But just directly linking to YouTube, it never works. I get DMs every single day from people like, hey, can you post this? Can you share this on my channel? No, that's not the way to do it. So, and I know you guys see this a lot, AWOL. You get this all the time. I know you get people messaging you, or you just see directly linking to their YouTube page. Have you ever clicked on one of those? Just curious.
No, I mean, I'll never click on a YouTube video that's linked on Twitter ever. There's no reason to do that because I want to watch content on Twitter. So for folks of you that are linking off, that's not the purpose of Twitter. Twitter is not there to directly promote off Twitter. And so there was one thing that got brought up a moment ago we've got to reemphasize, and we're talking about this over and over and over again in 2021. If you want to break through on any of these platforms, because they're all oversaturated, Twitter tweets about gaming went up by 75%, which basically means there's 75% more competition to break through in the conversation. So how do you break through in the conversation? Doing something unique. You have to do a twist on something, a new angle on something to break through. This is the same thing that's happening in streaming. We were telling you about all those streamers that are innovating in the streaming space. Sushi Dragon, Code Miko, Dr. Disrespect, etc. that are doing one new thing in their space and breaking through. The same thing is absolutely the case on Twitter as well. So if you're just tweeting about everything that's happening just willy-nilly and normal with normal text tweets, nobody cares. What are you doing that's different? Are you using video? Are you putting some kind of interesting angle on it? Are you doing some kind of unique value and putting some effort into it? If not, why would anyone care at all what you have to say on Twitter? And let's talk about some practical things here, Ross.
Sure.
I know that you don't just tweet everything from your phone, obviously. To have a super high quantity of content on your account, you use different tools. So what are some of your favorite tools to manage a big engaged Twitter account?
The biggest tool that I use is Buffer. And yeah, you can find it by going to, I believe they have buffer.com, but it's, if not, bufferapp.com.
I've got mine pulled up right now to kind of show everybody how it works. What do you want me to do here to show everybody? So I've got a tweet queued up here that I can either share now or I can edit that I'm posting later today. But do you use it normally with the queue function?
Yes. So let's start with that. Go to your settings real quick and let's pull up your schedule. The right above you. Go over to your right. There you go. Left, middle of the page. There you go. Settings. Perfect. All right. Posting schedule. The next tab over. There it is. So this is where you can actually set, this is what setting up a schedule looks like. You can create a whole list of times and it's going to automatically post at these times. You can set up at any time zone whatsoever. So when you're doing this, it's also important to understand what the best times to actually tweet are. And you can do that generally just by using your brain. The most popular times to tweet are when they're in the middle of the day, usually from like 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time when people are on their lunch breaks or, they're getting bored at school, whatever it may be. And then also the afternoon shift when people are getting home from school and things like that from your 3 to 5. So those are going to be your most popular times. But anyway, setting up the schedule here, it allows you to create a schedule. You can post once per hour if you want. And then when you actually go to your queue, once your schedule is set up, all you have to do is if you just go and you want to create an actual tweet there, AWOL, just like you see there, and it just
whenever I click create a tweet, Discord grays out my screen, so I actually can't demo anything live for everyone. So sorry,
that's cool.
But keep explaining.
Yeah, essentially, and then you just go and you just add it to your queue, and then So if you have a bunch of posts that you want to get out at once, you've already got your time set, all you have to do is just go load it in. It makes it easy for me because I'm doing this with memes. So all I have to do is go load the meme in, hit share to queue, load the meme and hit share to queue. And you can do this. You can also add the multiple accounts at once. You can connect your Facebook, Instagram, all of them, just add them all at the same exact time to save you a shit ton of time. And it's super, super beneficial. Now, Buffer also gives you the analytics to talk about what kind of tweets are performing the best, when your optimal times to post are going to be, if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of that. But there are other ways you can schedule tweets too. Buffer is the most, and you're going to have to pay a little bit of money to use Buffer. It's not much. It's like $10 a month, and it's the best $10 a month I spend. You can also use things like TweetDeck if you want. And actually I believe Twitter is actually going to be working on something where you can schedule directly from the platform itself just when you go to compose a tweet. So there's going to be ways to do this. Buffer makes it easy. It makes it kind of a streamlined, so you don't have to set the time every time you post. You already know what times you're going to be posting. You just got to load the content in and go. It's super, super easy.
Well, speaking of being able to post content on Twitter and other platforms at the same time, like you see us doing right here, how are we streaming to YouTube, to Twitch, to Periscope, to Facebook, and all these platforms at the same time, Andrew Perrin? What is the magic that's making this happen?
A really, really sweet little platform called Restream.io, and this allows us to add in multiple different live stream destinations: DLive, Trovo, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, all together, and we can stream simultaneously to all of them. You don't need a better internet connection to do all of them. You can do it with the same connection, and you can get audience and viewership from all of them at the same time in one chat app. So all of your chat is in one place too. It's how we grow really, really well. It's how we get our brand out there. And we really, really love the platform.
We do. Thank you to Restream for sponsoring us for yet another sponsorship run. We really appreciate that. Let's go ahead and do closing thoughts here in terms of how to grow on Twitter gaming. Are there any other really interesting statistics we want to share? Is there anything else that we want to cover before we make Ross, wrap this up and drop that final knowledge bomb? I see that you have a Twitter demographics report here. Is there anything interesting that we want to share from the Twitter demographics report with our audience?
There, it's going to be your essentials. The Twitter demographic thing I'm looking at just talks about the general growth from year over year, and then you can see firsthand. I'm going to drop it in our chat right now for people who are interested in taking a look at that. They actually just released it. These are updated. It kind of tells you what you're working with. 38% of all U.S. Twitter users are between the age of 18 and 29, 26 or 30 to 49.
That's higher than I thought that would have been.
Yeah,
they're actually bringing in more young people. They had a problem with this years ago. Sorry to interrupt with that one, Ross, but that is a higher statistic, 18 to 29. It's even higher than the 30 to 49-year-olds, which are the original age. Like that would be the original first Twitter users. So them growing a younger audience is huge. They weren't able to do that in past years.
Gaming and politics would be my guess as to why they're coming on here. If I were just to spitball that one. Look at that. Also, 42% of users are on the platform daily. So this kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier, where if you're not posting content in the moment and content that's about what is trending or doing something very unique in timeline, then you're going to have a hard time getting attention with people that are coming in here every day looking for their daily dose of doom scrolling. Any other insights that we want to share here from this report?
Yeah, the only other one that I wanted to share was 71% of Twitter users say they actually use the platform to get their news. And I think that's important because that kind of shows you what if you want to look for a good strategy on what to incorporate into your social media strategy for Twitter as a creator. I don't say this because for any other reason political, but to check out their strategy, go look at what the political journalists are doing right now, and you'll see exactly the perfect way to grow on Twitter. Like I said earlier, the most important thing is earning the trust of your audience, especially on a platform where people are not there necessarily to see you. You have to earn that trust just like you do. You got to get them wanting to come back. And what these political journalists do that is so great is they give all the information right up front. Instead of, linking an article to their story, which they still sometimes do, they literally will almost take the entire article and put it in a tweet chain. So the information's right there. So, and they know that you don't want to leave the platform to go to their website and see it. So they're just going to give it all to you right up front. That's how some of these journalists have made a name. It's a lot harder for a journalist to make a name when you have to send them to a website and then they have to, look around and try and figure out who the author of this is, when normally they don't care. But when it's the journalists themselves posting directly to the platform, it makes a brand for themselves personally. And by giving all the information up front, they have the highest chance of earning the trust of the audience the quickest, which can help them grow an audience. So my closing thought would be, is Twitter necessary for your growth? If you want to be a content creator on YouTube or on Twitch or any other platform, it may not be. But all you need to know is everybody who has been successful at creating as a content creator is using Twitter in some capacity or another. Take a few minutes today and then go and search for what your favorite content creators, what kind of social media strategy are they running? Facebook, Twitter. Take a look at that and figure out a way how you can incorporate it. See how many times they're posting a day. What kind of content are they posting? What times are they posting directly to the platform? You can tell if they're scheduled or not. Are they using the scheduler? So take an opportunity to go look at what they're doing and then use that to create a unique, and I cannot stress that enough, a unique strategy that you can help grow you an audience on Twitter. And then later on, after you earn that trust, then you can start sending them off platform to your live streams. Make them interested in you first. Twitter is the platform where you have to sell yourself. Take the content that you already have, take the clips, share it on there. Don't include anything about go watch me on Twitch or YouTube or anything. Make it directly for that platform. And it's going to take time, but if you do that consistently, you will see success. Have a good day.